In 2000, after 8 years of silence, Sade released the album A Lover's Rock. The album went to #1 in world charts. In 2010, another decade of silence, she comes back with Soldier of Love and again high rankings. And then she just disappeared again. Pop culture is screaming to us. Be visible, post stories every hour, create scandals, disappear for a year and they will forget you. But Sade broke this code. She has not given interview for years. She has no Instagram. She doesn't walk on red carpets. Yet people still listen to her, make TikToks, play her in clubs. At parties she is some kind of standards, unable and stately figure. Wine that only gets tastier and more refined with time. How? I will tell you about a woman who turned silence into her main tool of power. About why the less we know about Sade, the stronger we feel her. To understand why Sade values silence so much, we need to go back in 1959. Helen Sade Adu was born in Nigeria into a family of an economist from Africa and a nurse from England. The first 4 years of her life smelled of warmth, African percussion, rhythms and sun. Then her parents divorced, and the mother, with 2 small children, ran back to England. Imagine that shock. At 4 years old, you lose not only your father, your country, your language, your home. She turned to books, to fashion, to music. She listened to Marvin Gaye and Donny Hathaway, men who knew how to be sad beautifully. In 1977, Sade came to London to study a 3-year fashion design course at St. Martin's School of Art. After graduating, she and her friend opened a small tailoring studio making menswear in London's Chalk Farm. Although Sade studied design, she admitted, "I don't like the fashion industry. I find it quite unpleasant." At the same time, she clarifies, "I don't like fashion, but I love clothes." In 1980, Sade met Lee Barrett, the manager of the Latin soul group Arriva. She joined the group as a backing vocalist and began writing her own songs. Sade described her voice as a little fish with a huge mouth. In 1982, while a member of band Pride, she met Stuart Matthewman and Paul Spencer. Together, they formed a separate group called Sade and started writing their own material. She admitted that her music career was an accident. Originally, she wanted to be a painter or a writer and become a vocalist simply by agreeing to help her friends from Pride. For her, it's more important to be a musician than a celebrity, and she consciously avoided places where too much attention might be drawn to her. In 1983, Sade signed a contract with Epic Records. 1986, Grammy for the Best New Artist for huge success of their debut album, Diamond Life. Sade has experience working as an actress. She appeared in the film Absolute Beginners, directed by Julian Templer. As a singer, she wrote the song Kill It Blow for this film. In the same year, at the peak of success, she left to Madrid. She left behind all those interviews, photo shoots, and demand to be nice. She married Spanish director Carlos Pliego. She thought she found her quiet harbor. She did describe herself as a complex person. "I'm very calm, but at the same time full of anxiety. I'm very tidy, but I can be messy." She says that over the years, her different sides learned to live with each other. In 1995, Sade divorced and promised that she will never ever get married. The marriage lasted 6 years and fell apart. Why? Sade never talk about it? Of course not. She has a rule not to discuss her love life in interviews, believing that it's unfair to talk about partner publicly because they have no chance to defend their version of events. Later, she moved to Jamaica, where she met Bob Morgan, and they have a daughter, Ila. And it seemed like for the first time in her life, she was truly happy. She splashed in the sea, grew flowers, wrote songs for her future album, Lover's Rock, the warmest and most home-like in her career. In 1997, in Montego Bay, Jamaica, Sade was charged with reckless driving and disobeying a police officer. Later, a Jamaican court issued a warrant for her arrest when she failed to appear in court to answer the charges. But a medical certificate about her daughter's hospitalization allowed the warrant to be stayed. Also, in 2016, her daughter, Ila, came out. "I'm a man call me Isaac. How did the mother react? She did not comment on it at all. Something tells me that Sade loved her child no matter what. Grammy 2002 Best Pop Vocal Albums for the album Lovers Rock. 2011 Best R&B Performance by a duo or group for their little track of the album Soldier of Love. Interesting, Sade has won awards in different decades. 80s, 90s, 2000s and 10s, which confirm her status as a timeless artist. Today Sade lives in a rural Gloucestershire in an old stone cottage nearby a forest, a field and silence. Maybe she will never come back, or maybe tomorrow we will wake up and Spotify will notify Sade has released an album. In a world that demands total transparency from us, tell what you ate, where you slept, how you cried. Sade is the last bastion of mystery. She proved what we are afraid to believe. The less you tell, the more you are important. The less often you appear, the more you are missed. The softer you speak, the more carefully you are heard. And maybe this is the highest form of art, to disappear but to remain forever. Thank you for watching.